pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now, if you will pay your attention to the right side of the stage, let us all repeat the four-way test, which is also on the screen. Marcia, is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Proceed.
Yeah.
Trying to remember, you all have the PowerPoint already?
What other thing?
Yes.
I couldn't remember. Okay, so I have in my pocket.
Thank you, Marty. Well, all of our club members brought a guest today. Please stand and be prepared to introduce your guest.
You want me to run another one?
Please stand. We brought a guest.
I think we're good. We don't have to need to. Yeah.
Gary, I'm going to start.
I have two guests today. This is Edie, who many of you know Edie, who's our state representative for North of Boulder District 10. And she is coming both here speaker, and she has an interest in Rotary. She has a background in politics before this her freshman term in being a aide in federal, in the Senate, at the federal level, also at the state level. And there's lots more to know about her, but she's please welcome me. My next guest, is Phyllis White, who has recently moved to Boulder from Champaign, Urbana, where she was chancellor of the University of Illinois, and prior to that, provost and interim president of the University of Washington. He's also a accomplished biomedical researcher in neurosciences. And please welcome Phyllis.
My guest today on Wikipedia is Bob Wilkins. Bob is a Evergreen Club. He joined He's a member of RAG, which is Rotary Action Group for Peace. Bob.
It's my pleasure to co-introduce Jeff Kuroda, who is within about 5 days of 1 year as the executive director of the Community Foundation serving Boulder County. Jeff comes to us, as some of you know, from a long stint in Denver with the Denver Foundation. And we are absolutely delighted to have him here to lead us in the county and to listen to Chris today. Please welcome Jeff.
My guest today is Lloyd Brawl. This is Lloyd's third visit. Lloyd moved back to Boulder in June, okay, and is heading up a division here called MD5. Marty and I are tag teaming Lloyd, trying to get paperwork completed so he can actually join Boulder. So give him some encouragement.
Any other club members with guests? Otherwise, do we have other visitors today? Would you please stand? No visitors. Welcome to the best place in Boulder on a Friday afternoon. Thank you.
switch out the agenda just a little bit. We did have a member induction, however, Joanna is not well, so we'll wait till next week. And in that place, I'm going to put in something called Rotary Moment. If anybody might remember what the current theme is for RI this year,
Making a difference.
what is it, Sam? Making a difference. Wonderful. If anybody happened to watch the Rose Parade, the theme was the same, making a difference. Now, I'm not sure if they copied us, probably not. It was nice to see that the Rotary float did win a Princess Award. And I believe that was sowing the seeds of service, if I remember correctly. Certainly, we can't do all we do in this club without those who give time and service. And to begin with, I'd like to acknowledge our leaders today. Rich Urban and James did welcoming honors for that. Sue Lansbury, Charlotte Crone, and Jean Lindicke, Dan and Ann, all of those who came today. And then Fred and Wendy and Nathan all contribute mightily to that part of making meetings work. And I keep forgetting, and Bob Taylor, who says they moved the spots, so that's why I'm I guess. And then I keep forgetting, and I said Marianne even waved at me, but the banner that's outside welcoming us was an idea that Bill Meyer had, and Marianne made it happen. So thanks to all of them for making those things work for us so well. Appreciate it. We also had something, I would say, rather unusual happen this week. And it was a happy note, I might add. We got this email that was, would like to donate. Well, we would say, certainly, you've probably been inundated with those last minute emails. Please donate here, the mailings, please donate there. Well, this one came from a fellow who we said, well, certainly we'll help you make that happen. And some of you in the room know about this story, others, most of you don't. But we wrote back, and I was curious, and trying to connect the dots. Why would somebody out of nowhere, to our knowledge, want to donate to us? And this young fellow said, my connection is from many years ago. When I graduated from high school in 1977, the Boulder Rotary Club needed me a scholarship to CSU that paid my tuition for the first year. This was a huge help, and I never forgot it, and I never repaid it. I retired this year from a long career as a scientist, and I would like to pay it forward. Do you still have scholarships to graduates of Boulder County schools? And so, Michael, would you just stand up and tell them what you received from this young man? Or Cynthia, anyway.
He was kind enough to give a donation of $1,000 to the Boulder Foundation for the purpose of residential scholarship for this coming semester. To put that in a little perspective, we're going to be sending a check to Colorado College for $1,000 for one of our residential scholarship students. I was kind of curious about who Mark was. I had no idea in high school, but if you Google this man, he, after graduating from CSU, he went on to Caltech, he got a doctorate in physics. He's been a member of the technical staff at Sandia National Laboratories. He's an adjunct professor at the University of New Mexico. He's a fellow of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, and the list goes on and on and on. So I think it's an incredible thing. We never know what difference it will make, but certainly for that $1,000, or whatever that was, I don't know that he received it now, but he did receive for that tuition that we hope him to complete that first year at CSU. He moved it forward, and so very, very grateful. Just thought you might like it. I think this is Carol and Chris, we're ready. Let's go ahead and
Our speaker today is Chris Barge, who is Vice President of Strategic Initiatives for the Community Foundation serving Boulder County. His professional work enhances the impact of community-based human service initiatives. His current projects include spinning off a Latino parent engagement program. It's called El Paso. El Paso is now an independent nonprofit that was started at the Community Foundation. El Paso is an acronym for Engaged Latino Parents Advancing School Initiatives. The program seeks to train Latino parents and build their voices so that they can help to close the school achievement gap. They can help their children be school ready. Chris's many other responsibilities with the foundation include directing and editing the biennial trends report. And you've got copies on your desk, on your table, so I used to do on your tables, and take a copy of that home. He's going to tell us more about this. This magazine, this bulletin, is the Foundation's flagship resource for planning their work. It informs and engages our community on the most important issues derived from careful analysis of more than 150 indicators of the areas of social, economic, and environmental health. This latest edition profiles people who possess hard-earned wisdom gained from their own very difficult life circumstances. They are survivors. And their stories breathe life into the information that the data conveys. So the research is backed up by human stories. Chris joined the Community Foundation in 2008 after a 10-year career as a journalist. He worked with the Rocky Mountain News and also with the Boulder Daily Camera. He's a former member of this club, and one hopes that he might reconsider joining, at least when he has time one day. This avid mountain biker lives in Boulder with his wife, Erin, and their two children, their daughter, Ellery, and their son, Milo. Please join me in a warm welcome for our friend, Chris Barge.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay. Well, thank you. It's good to see old friends and new friends. I want to acknowledge we have many people connected with the Community Foundation Boulder County here as members of this group. For TK and introducing Jeff, Jim Williams, glad to see the new DMC here as well as at the Community Foundation. See Bill Bruder, former trustee, and many other friends of the foundation. Good to see you. We have less than 30 minutes, so we're gonna get right down to it. Carol, thank you for a very thorough and generous introduction. Because of that, I can jump forward a couple of slides. The Community Foundation, for those of you who don't know, your Community Foundation serves Boulder County. Each year we make grants in the community. We also provide data and information and research to the community, trends being our flagship presentation in that regard. We also work on some community leadership projects that span topics of education, healthcare, and homelessness, to name a few. Let's dive right in. A couple things that are new this year about the report. As you look at this magazine, it's true now as it has been for the 20 years that we've been tracking this data. We track about 150 indicators of Boulder County's social, economic, and environmental health. It is no longer, however, a desk reference. We've overhauled our website. If you want to look at all the data, it's now 3 layers deep. Google Boulder County Trends or go right from our website. What you'll see in the magazine is another step we've taken, which is to do some analysis of what the persistent and new trends are. And then we've gone out and done some reporting in the community, bring you stories as told from people who are living in the center of each of these trends. Starting with my former neighbors and good friends, John and Sharon. They are an example of a big trend we see in demographics. That is that Boulder is hollowing out when it comes to families with young children. They found twice the house for the same money in Lafayette last year out there. And we are seeing that more and more the housing prices are guiding families to make decisions, not just to move east within Boulder County, but even beyond Boulder County's borders. Another big trend here and across the first world is that we are aging. I'm 41 years old. When I was in grade school, the world's population was 5 billion people, over 7 billion. By the time I'm 65 years old, I'm going to be going by more than 100,000 Boulder County residents who are 65, compared to just over 45,000 today. Major driver here is that 100 years ago, we had a life expectancy that was much less. We're living 65% longer now. That's terrific. But as we see and prepare for this trend here inside our county's borders, it forces us to ask some important questions about services that we provide, and also about the culture and the level of openness and acceptance that we may have overall for our elders. And I'll get into some survey information we have about that. We're also becoming a more diverse county. Jeff conducted a listening tour when he first came in as CEO, talking to more than 42 different groups. One of the themes that emerged was people actually feel like it's becoming less diverse here. When in fact, the facts are opposite. We're becoming more diverse. You can see that back in 1990, our county was 90% what we call Anglo, that's non-Hispanic white. Today, it's more like 78%. And the big driver there is that the Latino population has gone from 7% to 14% of our population. Sue Deans and I used to work at the Daily Camera together. I remember when the census came out in 2000, that was a huge headline, was that we had this big influx in terms of Colorado and Boulder County's Latino population. Here in this county, we have a big overlap between our poverty population and our Latino population. And so part of this perception, I believe, that we're becoming less diverse is we're becoming more diverse. That has to do with what circles do we run in. And it really is a situation where we're not all connected to each other. And so we have a perception that's different from reality. I have a picture here of Richard Garcia. He is one of 4 elected officials in Boulder County who are people of color. There are 108 elected positions that Boulder County residents elect to office. So it's a fair question if 4 out of 108 positions are held by people of color, and if about 22% of our population are people of color, do we have a representative democracy? If not, what does that mean? Well, it means that people who are making decisions that are impacting the lives of everyone in our population don't all share lived experience of everyone who's living here. We know that we're highly educated. One of my favorite statistics is within the city of Boulder, you are more likely to hold a master's degree or higher, bachelor's alone. And that trend is also borne out across the county, though to slightly lesser degree. Just look at this. In Boulder County, 61% of us have a bachelor's degree or higher. That's twice the national average. So we know that overall, we're very educated. We also know that overall we're wealthy. You can see that in Boulder County, the median family income is about 50% higher than national. Again, though, we see that there's this match between our low-income and Latino populations. Our median household income is not much different for Latinos in Boulder County compared to nationally. However, there is a noticeable bump here for the Anglo population. And then I'll talk about the cost of living here. Our first chapter after demographics deals with education. By far and away, the headline is that we're at a 6-year high for high school graduation rates. That's fantastic for those of us that are interested in seeing our next generation be successful. But when you look a little bit deeper at this statistic, you notice that it's not just here in Boulder County where graduation rates are at a 6-year high. It's across the state in 178 school districts. Everyone is graduating more of their high school students. So then the question becomes, why? And the answer is the internet. I'll explain. We've come of age now. It's no longer like when I was going through high school. If you failed a class, you had to repeat a class. If you fail a class now, e-credit recovery for $100 and you can find $100 makes it possible over a 5-week period in the summer for you to recover between 4 and 6 of those F's, in passing grades. You get to graduate, stay on track with your cohort. However, the value of a high school degree is going in a different direction. I'll get into that in a minute. It's no longer enough to have a high school diploma. We know we have a wide achievement gap here in Boulder County. A lot of times people immediately say, well, look, we're so educated and wealthy here. It must be because we're skewing higher. And that's what that gap must be. And it is true, particularly in Boulder Valley. You can see here are students, their average reading proficiency, if they are from a family that does not qualify for free reduced lunch, it's much higher than the state grade or in Colorado as a whole. However, there's a quote in this report from Brenda Lyle down here at the Family Learning Center. She works with low-income families here at Boulder today. She says the true measure of a school district is how well do we do by our poor kids. The answer is no better here than across the state. So it is I think it is the case that you can say, while our overall achievement in our K-12 population is high, it is a reflection of a highly educated and on average more wealthy group of parents. So it demands our persistent attention to ask the question, how well are the more vulnerable students doing? Our argument in the Trends magazine is it shouldn't be this hard to beat the odds. In Trends, it's this delicate balance that we try to achieve between giving you just the data and then also telling some uplifting stories. This is a case of someone named Yuvia Macias. This picture here with her mom. She beat the odds. She graduated in the top of her class and wants to be a neurosurgeon. She graduated very last spring. She's a C Boulder. Her family moved here from Mexico, Boulder, when she was about 2. And when she was several years ago, she received DACA status, deferred action for childhood arrivals. Last September, when the president announced that DACA would be rescinded unless there were action taken by Congress, come this March, she said it was the first time that she's not felt welcome. And it has very real consequences. DACA is the reason why she has a driver's license. Her driver's license is the reason why she was able to participate in 4 extracurricular activities, and also to go to her part-time job at Cleaners in high school to help support her parents who each suffered from health-related issues, and it motivated her to want to become a neurosurgeon. And everyone around here believes she will become a neurosurgeon. So she's beating the odds, but here are what the odds are. If you're Latino or you're growing up in a free and reduced lunch qualifying family, you're more than twice as likely to take a remedial course if you do go on that next step past high school. And so it starts to answer the question, great, we're at a 6-year high on high school graduation, but how prepared are those high school graduates for the next step? Carol already spoke to the program we came out of the Community Foundation to address the achievement gap. We built this in consultation with hundreds of Latino families. And the heart of it are 4 women who grew up in Mexico, who raised their families here. And they knock on doors every day in Boulder, Lafayette, and Longmont, talking with other moms primarily, the dads to 0 to 5-year-olds in Spanish about, first of all, what are the resources that are available for you? And second of all, if they find someone who seems to have some leadership potential, they recruit them into a cohort that then goes out and talks to their neighbors and family and friends about what they can do to engage more with their 0 to 5-year-olds and teach them some skills. And now we're working with the alumni to help them advocate for the kinds of things that young Latino children in Boulder County need. We find often in higher economic status communities that we have systems that are built up in order to serve the needs of those who over time have come to the dais to advocate for what they need. When there's a significant population that is not time after time guys advocating for what their families like them need, we have a rift. So El Paso is trying to work to bridge that rift. Our next chapter is about health and human services. I'm about to show you probably the most volatile graph in the report. The internet's getting excited. Really, really great news. In the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a 232% increase in Boulder County residents who are either on Medicaid, CHIP plus. You can see that the reason why this happened was because of the Affordable Care Act and Colorado's acceptance of the Medicaid expansion under that, which caused us to go from fewer than 30,000 people on Medicaid and CHIP plus in Boulder County to more than 60,000 today. I don't know what this chart will look like in 2 years when I come back. Could go up, could stay flat, could go way down. And you tell me if you know what Congress is going to do. But look at this, our uninsured rate since 2013 has been cut by 2/3. We were 11.8% uninsured, now we're 4%. Those of you in the medical profession know that to be insured is not a yes or no answer. It's shades of gray, so there's still plenty of work to do, but that is a vector in the right direction. Another good news item in the health and human services chapter is just what's going on in Colorado when it comes to teen pregnancy rates. We cut in half over the last decade. This is a good news story about national philanthropy. Really like what happened here. There were representatives from philanthropy that reached out to people working on this issue in all of our 64 counties, and they asked the same basic question everywhere they went. They talked to people already working in this area, and they said, if money weren't the main barrier, what would you do? And there were 100 different answers, but they all rolled up into providing greater access to IUDs. And because of this success and track record, the legislature also has gotten involved in funding the long-acting reversible contraception. But here again, we're not sure where this trend will continue to go. Because obviously, anytime we're talking about contraception, we get into some controversial political area. But this has been the success of a lot of work across the state. We know from surveys inside our high schools across the county that LGBTQ teens are more than 2 times more likely to report feeling sad and hopeless, and more than 3 times more likely to consider suicide. This, on the other hand, is a picture of Shannon Axe. We interviewed her. She's got an incredibly positive story to tell about the bad experience she was having as a transgender student in another Colorado school district. Her parents specifically moved her to the Boulder Valley School District because of its positive reputation in terms of being accepted to transgender students. She's here to tell you that as a junior at Boulder High, she's feeling really, really good about her friends, about the school, and about her future. She wants to be a civil rights attorney. This is Cole Smith. He tells his story. His story is in trends. He tells his story to many teens across Boulder County. He nearly died twice from overdosing on heroin. We watched two of the drummers in his band die from heroin. And he's here to tell you that the opioid epidemic here about the East Coast and other places is here. 30 people in Boulder County died per year of accidental opioid overdose. I'm about to show you the chart that I think has had the most impact on all of the social issues that all of us are trying to work to improve, and that is the price of housing. This is a picture of Francisca Maya and her mother, Delahoya. They live in Longmont. They were displaced by the 2013 flood in their mobile home, and they spent a couple of years finally, proudly, are homeowners in Longmont. But it took them a year. They were outbid with cash offers 3 different times by investors looking to fix and flip houses. But when we talked to Francisca, she said, "I'm so pleased this house is perfect for me and my family. If I had to advise someone, I'd say, look, it's no longer affordable." Just a reality check about affording to live in Boulder County. A study a few years ago found that it's going to take about $76,000 for a family of 4 to make it in Boulder County without being median income homeowners. If you were just to drive down to Pueblo, you could reduce that bill by a third. And does anyone know the federal poverty level for a family of 4? A little bit under that. So I heard 30,000, it's just under 25,000. So you need triple that in order to not need public assistance. I hear your family for a grade school kid, one kid that's younger than that. I was talking a little bit about the value or lack of value of a high school degree anymore, and you can see it's more accurate. These are Boulder County statistics. You can see that in the last 10 years, the value of a high school degree has gone in the wrong direction. In fact, there's no discernible difference now between the dropout and the high school graduate in terms of their earnings potential beyond that. You can see that there's slow growth here in some college or associate's degree. I would argue that if you have an associate's degree, you are going to be better off. This is there's a little downward pressure on this number because it includes people without a piece of paper to show the fact that they've had some college. But really, even despite the national data as the cost of college continues to skyrocket, there's no question, it's undisputable. That's what we need. Again, to quote Brenda Lyle at the Family Learning Center, she says, "I'm proud of it. We've got 100% of the kids that have come through our program graduate from high school, but that's just not good enough anymore. They got to cost." And I like this quote from Julie Van Dalen. You know, when you talk about housing affordability, if you're way off the back end of being able to afford a place to live, you're homeless. And Julie says this is what people don't understand about family homelessness. They think the homeless is sleeping in parks. These are families. These are oftentimes people with college education. A third of our homeless in Boulder County have some college education. 1,500 children in Boulder County last year alone experienced at least one episode of homelessness. We move now to the environment, and I get to show you a photo that just stresses me out. Anyone who's tried to leave for Denver around 5 o'clock from the Table Mesa area, this is from the top of the Table Mesa parking deck, looking at the scenic view towards Denver. Knows that, you know, even though we have a pro-environment reputation here in Boulder, we're still real dependent on cars. I was curious to look at this data and see, well, how do we compare nationally? Well, it turns out nationally about 87% of people solo commute back and forth to work, and in Boulder, we do better. Boulder County, we 10% better. So about 77% of us are solo commuting work, and about 4% of us take public transit as our primary mode back and forth. Another way of measuring our environmental stewardship is to look at water meter. And we average about 81 gallons of water per day across this county. Nationally, that number floats between 80 and 100 gallons per day. So we're on the good end. It's certainly not setting records. You can also consider that we're in a semi-arid, water-constrained state. We need to be on the moment. One of the things you discover when you start talking with leaders of organizations that are working on the environment is that, you know, this assumption that I have isn't accurate. I assume that everybody who's here is interested in the outdoors. Very much I like to mountain bike. Kids and I would like to ski. And what we find is that, particularly among low-income Latino populations, these aren't any assets that they use that. So there's some important programming in Cowboys, like Latino Family Camp, and there's the Thorn Nature Experience with a program in Lafayette. They're working to make sure that everybody lives in a 10-minute walk or a trail or a park. That's important. The National Endowment for the Arts has named Boulder Arts Cluster. We don't get a trophy for that, but it's pretty significant what it means. They ran the numbers across the country, and they found out that the city of Boulder has more artists per capita than anywhere outside Los Angeles or Santa Fe. So this is the gorgeous Mary River Theater at City of Boulder, and packed house. It's not just a feeling. We really do have a strong artist community here in Boulder across the county. And all the vectors recently been going in the right direction. Just look at what's been going on for the last 6 years over in terms of increase in full-time artists, part-time artists, and contract artists. But then Alex Johnstone, local bluegrass musician in Lyons, reminds us, look, I'm not making incredible house buying money. Any given year, he's been gigging for a living for 15 years. And you know, any given year, he's pulling in $20,000 to $30,000 all told, and working extra jobs in order to make up the difference. And we find that in Boulder County, the average artist pulls in $24,000 a year. That number sounds a lot like the federal property law. So, in this and lots of other cases, you can very easily make the argument that current housing prices do not support our current demographics. The question is, over the next decade or two, who's going to be flushed out? Well, artists are one category that feel that pressure most. When you talk about the arts, we have a strong and emerging tradition of the Arts for Social Change. This was a performance last year. It was particularly impactful. 15,000 people either attended the dairy or saw it streaming online, and another couple million heard about it on public radio. This is a performance of Do You Know Who I Am? Raise your hand if you've seen it. Several of you might have. In this case, normally the performance is performed by undocumented residents of Boulder County who are telling their story, their biography. But in this case, the local DA and the local chiefs of police decided they would stand next to the undocumented residents and tell their story as written by the undocumented residents standing next to them. This is Lafayette Police Chief Rick Basham telling Victor Galvin's story. Victor moved when he was very, very young. His parents moved to Colorado from Mexico. This was a very strong public display and statement by our local law enforcement community that last year was very strongly saying that immigrants are welcome here. And so it caused me to say, I'm really curious what the general Boulder County public is going to tell us when we survey them about who we're open to. Because I knew that for many, many years, immigrants and minorities were on the bottom of the list when it came to answering the question. General public would say we were least open to that. And it turns out we're still proceeding as least open to racial and ethnic minorities. And it's also stayed consistent in our polling that we believe we are most open to gay and lesbian people, young adults without children, families with young children, and recent college grads. And then we're least open, as I mentioned, to racial and ethnic minorities, immigrants from other countries. And for the first time, our survey showed less than 50% feel that we are more open than not to seniors. So that's a troubling trend when connected to the trend we know where our senior population is. We also try to get at this question of how generous are we as a community. On the plus side, we have to acknowledge that we are more than twice as likely to volunteer in Boulder County than nationally. We also have to acknowledge that we're more likely than most to tax ourselves in order to increase amenities and services for general public consumption, such as open space, such as saying yes whenever the schools need money, such as voting for things like awarding costs. On the other hand, when it comes to writing a check philanthropically, we are not very philanthropic. In fact, we rank 44th out of 64 Colorado counties. We look at, we measure our giving as a percentage of our gross income. Who has ever lied to the IRS by underestimating how much they pay to charity? Okay, so this is a fair comparison. This is IRS data. And they look at it across the country and crunch it down to the county level, and they find that Colorado overall is also less generous, about the bottom third national. It's also less generous than any contiguous state. Who can guess the contiguous state of Colorado that's most generous? Everybody always aces that. So it causes us to do some reporting and ask some experts. This is Leslie Allen from our board. She's a nonprofit fundraising expert, consultant. Jenny Armagash directs social venture partners, a local giving circle, works with donors every day. We ask them, what keeps people from giving more, and what motivates people to give? And the way they summarized it was they said that it's our secular culture. In fact, a recent survey found that Boulder, Colorado, and Burlington, Vermont tied for least religious in the country. Provo, Utah, for most religious. They cite a high turnover rate amongst residents. By some accounts, we have a turnover rate of about 1 in 10 Boulder County residents each year. A small and diffuse local fundraising infrastructure are alternative why we're less generous. They say that those who get generously tend to feel called by a sense of social justice, a spiritual motivation. They have a desire to pay it forward. They're committed to community. They understand that a high quality of life for everyone is in everyone's self-interest. And many of them, 100% of donors in my experience, were raised by people, parents who taught them to give back. I find that just always to be the case. The major answer is it's just a habit. It's what you do. It's how I was raised. So in conclusion, the call to action for Trends is, how will you give back? What will you resolve to do? And it's also to say thank you to all of you. We know Boulder Rotary are, by definition, highly civically engaged, giving back in your own ways to this community. If there is any way that the Community Foundation can be helpful in other work that any of you may be involved in, I would be happy to give a Trends report, as long as you can answer yes to the following question. Has the Trends report ever, or might the Trends report in the future, help advance the impact of the work? The answer is yes. Please talk to me. My contact information is on the back of the magazine. I'd be happy to set up a presentation. Normally this would be the Q&A section, but TK, you can tell me whether there's time for a question or whether I should just be available after the question. Okay, got permission for 2 questions. One in the back. So for like Rotec during high school? Okay, thank you. So the question was for students who, while in high school, pursue a vocational technical track in their education, how is it particularly for them in terms of earnings potential? That is not a statistic that I track currently, but I think it's important information to know. I'll look into that. Right now, we are able only to disaggregate high school graduation by certain race, ethnicity, and income profiles, not by course of study pursued. But I think that's an interesting question. We've got time for one question. Oh, we covered it. I love that. One last question.
I'm just curious if there were a way to break out how much money is used for churches here and elsewhere.
Right.
I just wondered whether you could a higher rate for the whole county to fairly non-fairly.
Sure. So the question is, if you were able to break out from our Boulder County giving statistics, how much giving is going to nonprofits? In other words, if you were to delete the population of giving to churches and religious institutions, the question is then how would we compare? It's a good question. The Chronicle of Philanthropy is our source for this. They do not break it out. I don't know if the IRS provides the source data for them to be able to break that out. I doubt that they do. I do think, though, that there is a small enough church population in Boulder County for that not to be a significant driver. That would just be my guess. That's just a required one. It would be interesting to see.
Hang on.
Hold on. Hold on.
My chance to respond, and I have two comments. First, we all have a copy of this on your table. I invite you to take it along, and I hope in 6 months it's not shiny, it's all wrinkled, because you have gotten inside. So 8 chapters, one at a time, very great resource. So Chris, by the way, thank you. You may remember the World Republic going to donate 100 doses of polio vaccine to our worldwide polio eradication effort. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
As someone with a parent and a grandparent who suffered from polio, that's what makes people think I appreciate.
Thank you so much, Chris. Actually, before we get to the bottom of the agenda, although we can do so little, together we can do so much. And I think that probably is a good connection for what community foundation is all about. It's Helen Keller Foundation. Helen.
Welcome, Rotarians and guests, up to the club PowerPoint 2017. Well, my New Year's resolution is actually to conduct the PowerPoint in a much more serious manner. Yeah, just kidding.
Vocational service is one of Rotary avenues of service and calls all Rotarians to aspire to high ethical standards of their occupation. Recognize the worthiness of all musical applications and contribute their vocational talents to the problems and needs of society.
When professionals join a Rotary Club, they do so as representatives of their classification, their particular business or profession. Rotarians have the dual responsibility of representing their vocation within the club and exemplifying the ideals of Rotary within the workplace. Welcome to January. And moving on to Board Rotary Club committee briefs.
Share a gift. Thanks for making a difference. With your help, Share a Gift served 1,795 children. We are grateful to the generous Boulder Rotarians who contributed time, toys, and cash to bring joy to so many. Thank you, Joanne Jocelyn, for your tireless sharing of efforts.
Supporting a project headed by Michael of the Park Rotary Club. Its goal is to equip a school in BRC or Haiti with good water and solar power and educational initiatives such as literacy training. The next regular World Community Service Committee meeting is scheduled for January 19th at 10:45 right here at the JCC. And in related District 5450 news.
Grant Training and Club Grant Qualification Training will be held on January 20th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Red Rocks Community College.
Am I the next one or you? Oh, okay. Rotary Leadership Institute is January 27th from 8 to 3 p.m. also at Red Rocks Community College. Come and get trained. So, you think you're a shutterbug, huh? Well, Rotary International has a photo contest, and picture here is last year's winner, Mr. Chu Pa Lin, from Rotary Club of District 3490 in Taiwan. Submit your best shots by February 15, 2018. Winning photographs will be featured in the June 2018 issue of the Rotary magazine. Rumor has it that Boulder Rotary Club has had 2 members with award-winning photographs that were featured in previous years.
And Daryl and Chris's photographs were much better. Next week's program is our very own Bill Stefano. We aren't quite sure what this program is about, but he's the chancellor at CU, so it's a good chance about CU.
Go Buffs! Love, true love, love and marriage.
Bring your Valentine and join fellow Rotarians in supporting our local performing arts by attending the Tony Award-winning musical Annie at Boulder Theater on Wednesday, February 14th. It's $60 per person, and the ticket price includes the show, an entree of your choice, side salad and drinks, and dessert may be purchased for an additional fee.
Boulder Rotary Club has the first 2 rows of tables in front of the stage reserved, and seating begins at 5:30 p.m. For tickets, contact Joanna Kane.
Hurry! Ticket sales end January 12th.
Love, true love. What movie is that from?
Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. This has been the Boulder Rotary Club PowerPoint for January 5th, 2018. Oh, everybody now. Have a great weekend.
Thanks very much. I learned yesterday that Annie, Lily Gruber, if you know the Reagan family, Jim Reagan and Kathy, that's the granddaughter, and she's one of the 2 Annies. I don't remember, she's either been in 17 with 19 performances to go or 19 with 17 to go. So apparently quite a young actress and a great Annie. So, and I think a great job. Lana says she does a great job. So at this point, for another great job, Dr. George, would you like a microphone? Okay, I'll give you one.
Marty graciously let me tell a story today. This is about a moth who goes in to see his dermatologist. And the dermatologist said, well, what seems to be the problem? He said, well, my wife just committed suicide. She flew into one of those mosquito zappers. My 2 kids, my 2 boys are in prison in a butterfly shelter. And my daughter's living with a butterfly. And I'm feeling really bad. He said, well, you should talk to this therapist about that. You get a psychiatrist maybe. So, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I've got to work. And I said, well, you know, do you have any skin problems or warts? And he said, no. I said, well, I'm a dermatologist. Why'd you come in here? He said, well, your light was on. We have several, thank you. Happy birthday, Tom Chesney, sponsored by Joe Lovich. He's a banker. and refused to sit at the birthday table. I don't mean to embarrass you there. Pete Palmer, sponsored by J. Healthy Everett, J. Healthy, classification nonprofit. Frank Crispin's, investments. George Browning, sponsored by Larry Johnson, he's an attorney. Jim Polisica, education, brought by Ted Manning, and finally, Brad Weasley, sponsored by Richard Liddell, and public service. So thank you for coming. I want you to sit here. We only have 2 times you can say something at the table a month. So be sure, and even if it's not your birthday, sit at the table. Because we want to honor you and want to hear something of your stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. I didn't want to know my nearby. So at this point, did I forget something today? I guess not. Okay. Well, I wish you all a very, very happy first weekend of the month. And if any of you happen to care about basketball, the Bucks did kind of sort of do pretty well last year. You know, you figure those folks just play their hearts and souls out. I got kind of grumpy the other day and I looked at the sports page. There was nothing about women's basketball. I thought, this is not. So we were at the game and I found out where Brian Howell was and I went over and I said, I saw a lot about men's sports and men's basketball and I think that's really important. But why wasn't there anything about the women's sports? He said, well, yeah, there wasn't any story, but there was a box. That, okay, one is the box when I was looking for the story. He said, well, there are only 2 of us because there were so many more for Sue and certainly Chris would know that it changes of staff assignments and so forth that they can't have other publications. But he said, I'll promise to write one the next day, which he did. So anyway, I felt so much better. But I thought, you know, here the women doing the same things and men practicing, and you know, sports, whether it's literally sports, theater, music, in all places where you have teams involved and working hard together. It's a great thing to have it recognized. And I appreciate everything that you all do for Boulder Rotary Club and for our community. And go out and make a difference and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.